Okay. So Jade, how many miles did you just run?
Well, I did three this morning, no, four this morning. I just did six. So I have two more left for after dance class, but can't do it all at once right now. So,
Wow.
so
So
it's
for
what I
those,
look.
yeah. So for those of you guys that don't see Jade's stories, you should, and you'll probably learn how to lose weight dancing, right?
Dancing, running, everything. Um, so so yeah, it is hot outside. So I was just running, and it's early for me. I usually run a little later when it's not so sunny. And now I know why I run later.
So guys, it is July 1st. It is 2022, in case you see this 5 years from now. And it is 7:28 p.m.
And it's 86
So
degrees. Feels like
yeah,
95, it says.
yeah, it's crazy. So we finished the first two quarters of the year. Jade knows like the time of the year by quarters because you're so into like finance. So half a year is gone. We just wanted to do a quick video. All of our videos, we say that and they're long, but a quick video. Jade, we're in the Miami real estate market. 2022, the first half is finished. Give me some thoughts, like just things that pop up to your head right away.
First quarter was super, super strong. So, typical pandemic, low rates kind of thing. Second quarter, you kind of saw a little bit of a slowdown. You saw still movement. Some people that were closing from the first quarter, that kind of thing, that had locked in rates. And then at the end of the second quarter, people kind of really got freaked out. I'd say like for the past maybe 3-4 weeks. But now I'm seeing more of, I guess, normalization. So I think going into the second half or the third quarter, we'll see some movement. I also think a lot of people are traveling right now because they haven't in a while, and that pulls away from our market. So I do think compared to the past month or so, it will pick up going into the second half. And then typically, in the fourth quarter, COVID, not COVID, whatever it is, that's usually our strongest quarter because it's cold in the north. So I think we'll finish out strong. Not the same as the last year, but still strong.
Yeah, so while you were talking, I was looking to my computer screen, and I looked at the teams, our results this year compared to last year by quarter. Okay,
Yeah.
so the first quarter of 2022, we did 175% better than the year before. So this first quarter was ridiculously strong. The second quarter, we were 13.6% stronger. So still better. And these are like, record numbers for anyone doing real estate. So yeah, so you could see the trend, it's trending down. So like when you hear the news, if you're a consumer and it's so easy to get sucked into this negativity, right? And we do our best to keep out of it. And when someone is hearing, if they're thinking about buying a house, and we're not trying to convince anyone to do anything, but say you're a buyer and you have the knowledge you have now, how are you going to break down things a little bit so the normal person could understand it in maybe a simpler way?
Well, I think the first question is, are you financing or not? And that's usually the first question I go to anyway, but just because of what's happening kind of in this environment right now, that's where the focus is on. If you're financing, rates are higher and things like that. But I think I mentioned to you the other day that one of the heads at UBS, they're already predicting 2 or 3 interest rate drops in 2023. So I think what will happen, they're saying like the first part of this quote unquote recession is kind of past. But I think what will happen is it'll catch up with us a little bit, and then the Fed will start to stimulate. So I think going at like the end of 2023, 2024, we're going to see a similar pattern to what we just saw. So I think the slowest part is probably what just happened the past month. Those are my thoughts.
Yeah, so I'll speak real quickly about it. So I think that one of the great things about something that's terrible, obviously we hear all this negativity, is that we're creating this, right? We're creating this recession because the inflation, I heard a stat the other day, and I'm not political because I voted for Democrats, Republicans, whatever, but I've seen that there's some stat, and I didn't verify it, that there's 4 times as much money in the system than there ever was. Obviously, we have a million reasons why the economy is not that great. But with that said, the Fed increasing the rates is making it harder for buyers. So in the past, where banks weren't that strong, now it's just we could just turn it on and turn it off. It doesn't happen right away, but we have that ability to do that. So that makes me feel a little bit good.
Yeah, like I think to that point, as you're saying, now increasing the interest rates has given them kind of control of the ship, so to speak, like lowering the amount of money in circulation, so that hey, if it's like the steering was out of control, after the pandemic, and so they had to increase the rates to kind of slow everything down. But now doing that and causing a recession, or almost causing a recession, or however you want to see it, then they can lower them and fix it. Do you know what I mean? Because before it would just spiral out of control, and then it'd be kind of up to the natural causes to take course, which could be a long time. But I think now they're getting control again, which is ultimately what we want, right?
Yeah, totally. And so I'll share one thing, and then I'm going to ask you your predictions for what's going to happen in the future. So I think I'm sort of happy that's happening, because if you live in Miami, you can't compete with people that are moving from other states here. You're used to a certain quality of living. Our jobs are decent, but they're not all here yet, all these high paying jobs. So that makes it a little bit more difficult. I do think we'll have a recession, even if we try not to. It's like trying to time a stock, right? We may not have it for long, as some people predict, but we're probably going to get in that area. But so with that said, what are your predictions? So we finished the first half of the year. We mentioned how the first half was. What do you think the third and fourth quarter are going to be, if you had to guess?
I think, at least from my standpoint, you're going to see a lot more negotiation, especially on the buyer side. I'm already starting to see it. I think some of the sellers still having their feet are stuck in the ground, and they're saying, no, this is my price. But now things are going to come back into play like we had before. Okay, well, the appraisal, what about those things that we kind of had to forego in order to get a deal done are now coming up again. And I already see it. I think right now, like the buyers think it's one market and the sellers think it's another. And so you're like seeing this clash, right? Sellers are just saying no, so it's staying there on the market. And the buyers are saying, yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm gonna say something, because I'm glad you brought that up, right? Buyers being disconnected with sellers.
Yeah.
And for those of you that want to know why, the reason is a buyer every day is looking at prices. They're seeing all the price drops. A seller is just looking for good news, or a comp that's sold, property that's sold in the area. So once that connection happens, so what you're saying, it's like a normal market almost.
It's balanced. And I think that, sellers are like, oh, that sucks. No, I mean, yes and no. It's healthy, right? It's what it's supposed to be, right? I think overall it's good, because that seller is going to need to buy something, and then they're not going to get beat out 100 times. So it's going to be more of like a normal transaction, which is good. I think a lot, like the past week, I did 3 rentals, right? 2 or 3 rentals. And that I couldn't do 6 months ago, not because I didn't want to. I love doing rentals, that, but you couldn't get them in quick enough. I didn't even show these this past week. So like these, it's still like that. It's still very strong. You have to get it in and blah, blah, blah. But I think we're going to see more transactions happen. Do you know what I mean? Because people can actually get there, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, totally. I mean, I remember, like, because we have so many people moving here from out of state. I remember you used to have to tell them, because you're so good with the rentals. Like, hey, if you want the rental, you have to judge the photos like that's what it is, because you're not going to get an appointment to see it.
We're still doing that, right? So we're not even getting in to the rentals still, because our rental market's so strong, and I don't think that's changing. But is that your wife?
Yeah, sorry.
It just looks like you're smiling at the TV because you have the background on. So, or you're really happy about the rental market. I don't know.
Right, totally.
So they're still, putting in offers without seeing them. You can't, but are they going 500 above asking on a 3,000, 4,000? No, they're going at, or maybe like the one I just did, 100 above asking on 3,100. So a little bit, and we had to be aggressive, and we had to get, we couldn't get in there. But I think it gives some people a chance that kind of didn't have one, right?
Yeah, and if we break it down really, a lot of times we just look at one side, the buying side, but the odds are the person that's going to buy something probably has to sell something. There's
Yeah.
probably multiple sides of a transaction. So if you're buying something and you're saving, your selling is going down. So it's sort of balancing. And unless you're like selling something that's really expensive and buying something really cheap, it's not going to help you that much. But for the most part, people are pretty close to buying or selling where it doesn't make as much of a difference as we think it does.
Because how many times did you hear, this past 2 years, I would sell, but then where do I go? Right?
Right.
That was like a big thing. Well, if I sell, I can get a good price, but I have nowhere to go. I can't compete with the buyers. Now you can sell and still get a good price, not a stupid price, but you can get somewhere to go. So you kind of have the other half that you didn't have before, which is why I think there'll be more transactions.
Totally. And there are more choices, right? Imagine you're looking to buy a property, you're paying cash, even if you're paying cash, right? And you're ready to do it, but there's nothing on the market that you like. You're not just going to stay looking for homes. You'll probably back out of the market and not look anymore, So we're going to have more inventory. You're probably going to balance between selling and buying. There are going to be a lot of other things that will break down in the future. I know you got to go in a bit, Jade. Anything else you want to talk about before?
No, like go? 5 seconds. Oh my God. I guess we're so used to doing long videos, right? Honestly, I could just talk about the market forever, and it's really kind of annoying for my friends because I never shut up about it because I think it's so interesting. I still think, I think we're going to see a lot of condo buyouts, like on the development side, still like a result of Surfside, kind of like in the blog that I was talking about today. I think you'll see a lot of that happen. I did hear that Surfside, the people that received a payout from the settlement, they did just receive their payout, or like are in the process of these next 2 weeks. And so a lot of them are looking in the buildings. I have buyers looking in, and they're competing because they're cash. And so I think that's something super particular to the Miami market. But I do think we're going to see a lot of developers still go after old buildings, and a lot of like development come up, which I like. I think it's a good thing. As you know, my favorite project right now on the pre-construction Airbnb side would be Nomad. I love it because it's in Wynwood. And that's, I think, where we did our first video, right? In Wynwood.
Yeah.
And then
for those of you that, I'm sorry, for those of you guys that don't know, Jade writes a lot of blogs, not just videos, and she's doing like 1 or 2 a day, English and Spanish. It's amazing, all the content. And today, your blog, it was like top secret, right? On three tips for someone that's buying a property in Miami.
Yeah, kind of how to get a good investment in Miami. And I sent it to one of my friends who actually has 3 units in Castle Beach. That's how I found out about it. And he's laughing at me. He's like, you knew because of me, due diligence. I told you all of that. And I was like, well, yeah, it's true. It's firsthand info. I want to use that. Not a lot of people know that. Right. And he's like, oh, but you told me not pre-construction. I said, no, I love pre-construction. I think it's a great bet. You buy pre-construction if you get in at the right time, not at the end, but if you get in the beginning, then it's good. But for him, since he's selling the units and going to have a huge, capital gains, I said, it's not going to work with a 1031. So that's kind of something I think a lot of people like screw up. You cannot do a 1031 on pre-construction, unless the building is already built and you're just buying excess from the developer, because the timing won't work and you'll have to pay your taxes. So.
Nice. In our meeting the other day, they had this bank come in. I'm gonna interview the guy from the bank, and whoever you guys choose to do your lending is fine. But this bank came in and they had this cool product. It was because we do a lot of pre-construction. So what they do is and because the rates are varying a lot, they guarantee the rate that
Oh,
you lock in today. You pay 1% more, 1 point higher. And then at the closing, if it is less, you can get the one for less. It's pretty amazing, huh?
you pay 1% of the purchase price now?
No, you pay to lock yourself into that rate for, say it's 2 years from now, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
you're like scared it's going to be 8% or whatever it is. You lock the rate, but you pay one interest rate higher, 1 point higher.
So
So
like
if
it's
it's
like
five,
5 + 1, so 6.
right, exactly. And if it's less than, you won't have to, you get the lower of the two.
Do you have to pay a fee to lock it in now?
I'm gonna interview the person. I don't think it is, but I'm scheduling an interview. And Jade, if you want, we can interview the guy together because I know you have. They had a lot of different types of loans, which were different. Like a normal doctor loan is for just a few years, but this one would do it for throughout. So yeah, I guess one of the things that Jade and I and the team does, besides trying to find you like a home or sell your home, we're looking to save you money on getting that home or make your offer more competitive. Or if you need a cleaner or something, Jade will know a cleaner or whatever. We try to be like white glove if we can.
Everything we know everything. I mean, well, we don't know everything, but we know people who know everything. So we try to always have a connection somewhere. What I was going to say, one important thing for pre-construction, a lot of people don't know about this, people who are out of the country, you can finance if you're a foreign national. I can't stress that enough. As so many people ask, just think they have to have cash if they're from Colombia, and that's not true. You have to have some cash, obviously, but you could still finance, right? So you could definitely finance 50% when the building is complete, even up to 60. So that's just something to keep in the back of your head. Even on pre-construction or a regular condo, you can finance if you're, from out of the country.
It's cool that you mentioned that because they were saying this bank again said that they gave a list of countries. I can't remember them. That's why we're going to interview them. But where they look at your credit and they give you the same exact programs as if you were in the US.
Yeah.
Like the same ones.
Cool.
It's pretty amazing.
That's really cool. Yeah, no, we should definitely talk to them. Well, anyway, that was a short, brief little overview about the first, everything that's going on in Miami in the first half of the year. I can't believe it's halfway over, but that's it.
Yeah. All right, guys. Thanks for tuning in, and make sure to subscribe, hit that notification bell, and follow Jade on Instagram. Her name is there on the thing.
Jade Kalbacher. Yeah. And then you can see all the crazy runs and dances and sales and that kind of thing. Except if you're going to give us a listing and not answer when we send, like 10 offers, like this one listing we have, I might have to go on a plane down to Haiti to be like, can you sign this? I keep emailing him. I'm like, I have offers above what you wanted, but 50,000 above ask, and you're not answering.
Oh man.
So
yeah, so that's a good problem we have, right?
Yeah, it is. It's a good problem. So,
well, guys, have a happy 4th of July and
happy 4th of July and happy second half of the year.
Yep. Take care, guys.